Good evening. I would like to call to order the Kaiser City Council in regular session. It is Monday, December 6th, 2021, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Kohler?
Here.
Councilor Herrera?
Here.
Councilor Reed?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Smith?
Here.
Councilor Duran?
Here.
And Youth Councilor Coleman?
Here. Thank you very much. If you are able, I would ask you to rise, and would you all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for joining us on this blustery Monday evening. This evening, we're going to start off with a special proclamation. I'm sorry, the actual verbiage is not in the packet. It will be posted tomorrow. I emailed it to Tracy Davis. The topic is Human Rights Day, and the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas on December 10, 1948, the member states of the United Nations signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and countries of different political, economic, and social systems unanimously agreed on the fundamental rights that all people share solely on the basis of their common humanity. And whereas the Universal Declaration asserts recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace. And whereas disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted in acts which have outraged the conscience of mankind. And whereas the advent of a world in which human beings enjoy freedom of speech, belief, and freedom from fear and want have been proclaimed to be the highest aspiration of the human community, the human worldwide community. And whereas the city of Kaiser affirms that all people shall be treated with dignity and respect, and where each person has the power and ability to promote respect for human rights and freedoms. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Kaiser, together with the Kaiser City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim December 10, 2021 as Human Rights Day, and urge the residents of our community to actively and thoughtfully live out these ideals. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Kaiser, Oregon, to be affixed to this document on the 6th day of December, 2021. This will be displayed at City Hall. It will be posted on our website. But this is not news to any person in this room, because all of you and the people of Kaiser truly affirm every day as Human Rights Day. So I look forward to hearing and maybe seeing postings online as people share their thoughts and actions in this regard. Okay, this one goes there. Fantastic. Okay. We are going to go now to committee reports, and the Volunteer Coordinating Committee recommended appointments for Parks and Recreation Advisory Board and Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe you have the report in front of you.
Microphone.
Oh, sorry. I believe you have that report in front of you.
Yes,
Did
sir.
I miss that? Thank you. Fortunately, the finance director had it in front of him. So the volunteer coordinating committee met on the 14th of October and made the following recommendations to the Parks Advisory Board: Katie Brady, Lisa Sika, and Matt Lawyer to positions 7, 8, and 9, each beginning January 1st, 2022 and expiring December 31st, 2024. To the Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee, David Dempster to fill position number 6, beginning January 1st, 2022 and expiring December 31st, 2024.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report regarding the Volunteer Coordinating Committee recommendations? Seeing none, Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Kaiser City Council accept the Volunteer Coordinating Committee recommended appointments.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council accept the Volunteer Coordinating Committee recommended appointments. Any further discussion? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just would like to say that the Volunteer Coordinating Committee worked really hard on this. There was a lot of applicants, and they spent a lot of time going through those, and it was a pleasure to watch them work, and I appreciate all their efforts.
Thank you very much, and I would concur. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. We have two committee representatives here tonight. Here from the Planning Commission is Francisco Saldivar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, fellow councilors. I would like to provide a quick synopsis of our last meeting. We had the luxury of hearing an engineering firm bring forth a code audit. We're in the process of reviewing the requirements for House Bill 2001. And so they provided some information to us on where our current development code meets the 2001 standard and where we need to look and improve to meet the minimum standards. And so we had a discussion by area, and then there was also some leeway, if you will, for us to provide further guidance in our development for that standard. So we can, they've given us some flexibility, I should say, on what we do. So we have some discussion, we had discussion on where we would like that to move. Either meeting the minimum standard or providing, going beyond the standard and providing more flexibility to developers. So we're in that conversation right now. We're also taking input in from the public. We have a survey out that I would hope all of you in this room would fill out that survey to provide us some input on where you would like to see our code standard go, or development code standards. And we'd love to see that input from everyone in the community. And let me make sure I don't cover everything. We also had a discussion on the impacts of Senate Bill 458, which is the Housing Land Division. And as I said, we're working with an engineering firm that's helping us weigh through those bills and how they impact us and our code standards now. So, questions?
Questions on the Planning Commission report? So it was, and this will kind of go to Traffic Safety Bike Ped. Recently, we got a report that from ODOT, which is working on some more flexible standards when it comes to the placement of solid surfaces for multimodal use, not just saying it has to be a bike lane, it has to be a sidewalk, giving more flexibility in how we plan for the context of facilities within neighborhoods and the degree of use and so forth. So I'm looking forward to that coming forward because I think it might help us with some of the planning work we've had to do and some of the creativity we've had to use for a couple of the projects that we've gotten done. It sounds like ODOT's getting the message that that kind of flexibility would be helpful in finishing projects. So I think both planning and traffic safety bike ped, as soon as those standards start rolling out, we'll definitely get those to you.
Yeah,
I know our staff's already on top of it.
How that input is. I mean, some of the standard has provided some clear, like, this is what we have to do, and the engineering firm was really good about saying, okay, you really have no flexibility in these areas, but this area you have flexibility in, and so that's kind of where we're concentrating on, is where we have some flexibility to make decisions on whether we want to be more restrictive or more flexible in our current standard, or as we move forward.
Fantastic. Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you so much. Appreciate all the work.
Thank you very much, thanks. Hurst Sangster, Traffic Safety Bike Ped.
Madam Mayor, Councilors, I'm Hurst Sangster. I'm representing the Kaiser Traffic Safety Bikeways and Pedestrian Committee meeting of November 18th. This was the last meeting for Wayne Fry as a member. Wayne served both as vice chair and as chair of the committee. So with him leaving, it does open us up for another opening on traffic safety. Also, it was the first meeting of our new council liaison, and I think we kept her busy that night. Based on some input from a concerned citizen, the committee recommended and approved a motion to council for the installation of a pedestrian activated light at the crosswalk on Chemawa across from our library, and to partner possibly with the school district for another activated crosswalk light at Lock Haven and Celtic Way. Now, my understanding is staff is going to be working on developing some information on that to get back to council.
Okay, I've got the head nod on that.
Gotta look at my next set of notes here. Mike Jaffe from the Council of Governments was there to give us an update on what's going on with the Safe Routes to School program and what might be coming up this next year through ODOT traffic safety for Safe Routes to School grants. He also talked about some new possible ODOT transportation grants coming up this next year that there's a webinar in January that members will be watching so we can get some input and get some idea how possibly to apply for those and how they might appear. So we had kind of a full night of some discussions and Mike Jaffe's presentation. We won't have a December meeting. The next meeting will be in January. We also talked a little bit with Mike Jaffe with Safe Routes to School. Once the schools kind of get going, maybe do some partnering with McCrae. She's the coordinator for the Safe Routes to School for a bike safety program, either at Kennedy Elementary or Cummings, which is one of the schools, or here at City Hall, partnering with our police department to put on a bike skills fair. The committee has already gotten a good supply thanks to some donations for the helmets. So we have helmets for kids coming this spring. So that's about it for our busy night.
Fantastic. Any questions for Mr. Sangster? All right, looking forward to, I think I'm covering the next meeting. You guys are meeting in December, correct?
No.
No, you're not.
No.
I'm off the hook.
We're going to skip. We're skipping December and then
Okay.
January, and hopefully we can, working with the volunteer coordinating committee, have a new member to fill Wayne's position.
Okay. And we do have meetings. We just had a meeting of the Mid-Willamette Area Commission on Transportation, and I watched those and forward to the bikes. I just sent an email out with some additional information.
I got my copy from you.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we got it from Debbie, who is
You're right.
Rockstar, and she makes sure that if I say, can you please send this, she takes care of it. So if there's any questions on what's happening on the regional level, definitely get them back to me, and I can get them to the area commission.
Perfect.
All right. Any questions? All right, we're good. Thank you so much. Appreciate
you.
it. Is there anyone else here for a committee report? All right. Come on down. Good to see you, Beth.
Good evening. My name is Beth Melandy, and I'm reporting for the Kaiser Public Arts Commission. So a few things that we've been doing the last couple months is we have a local artist, Enrique Sabuveda, and I probably mispronounced that. He has come together with a design and proposal to paint one of the utility boxes on the corner of River and Lock Haven. So he's got a really cool design. It involves some irises and stuff, and he does it in spray paint art. And so we have, I believe Lori Christopher is going to be contacting PGE because they own that box to work out the process of possibly getting permission to do that. Other cities do it, and so we're keeping our fingers crossed. We also have, right now for the month of December and January, we have a display over here in our 2 hallways, our art gallery. And here's another hard name, Gary Lastals. I'm thinking the H at the beginning is silent, I'm not sure. But he's displaying right now for December and January. And we also renewed some contracts for some of the sculptures up and down River Road for a 2-year period. We have one of our commission members, Michelle Rowland Schwartz, who's been working really hard, doing research to figure out some grants for us so that we can get some of this public art financed, and we're very lucky to have a grant writer on our commission. I know you all other commission members are jealous, right? Okay, so she's been working on that, and some of the artwork that we are going to try to get funded via a grant is we want to do artwork in the roundabout, and we thought it appropriate that it involves something to do with cows, so that's kind of the plan. And then also we have an artist who has come up with a fantastic mosaic tile plan for the splash pad bike park right over here behind us. And we're hoping maybe that will be something that's done maybe in the spring or summer. So we got some great projects, we just need the money. We also have been working on our master plan. We have a final draft for the master plan, so that will be coming to you at some point for approval. Tomorrow at the tree lighting ceremony, we're going to be presenting the winner of our 2021 holiday card. Laura has it's a wonderful, I think it's watercolor, that Sherry, or is it Cherie, Rodriguez, that's her beautiful artwork, and we had cards print up that the city's sending out to all the volunteers and other associates. And we decided from here on forward to do something nice for the artists. In addition to them getting their $100 gift card to Michael's Crafts, is to have one of their cards framed in a nice frame with a mat and everything to present to them. So if you're going to the tree lighting tomorrow, please come and support that. We'll also have information for the next year's contest. We will be choosing a winner for that in March. So if you know any artists, please, spread the word to them. And another thing that we talked about is that we've amassed about 8 different cards now. I think we're about on year 7 or 8 that we've been doing the holiday card. And so we kind of want to do a neat presentation in the emergent artist wall in this west hallway, and have them all nicely framed and put them up during the month of December so everybody can see the different artwork that we have had the privilege to share with everybody. And then finally, at our last meeting, we approved the dates for the 2022 holiday card submission form. So I think that's it for now. Any questions?
That's it? I mean, my gosh, you guys always have tons going.
There's always tons going. Oh, we recently did a nice, dedication to the story poles out front, and there's some really neat informational kiosks in front of those to tell you a little bit about those story poles. So
That's fantastic.
Okay.
Councilor Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am desperately trying to look through my notes, and I'm hoping that you can help me out.
Well, I have the minutes here, if that helps.
Perfect, that's actually what
Okay.
I need. So it was my job as a liaison to that to be able to make a motion that we seek approval to apply for grants going towards the cows.
Yes.
So, do you have the verbiage?
Yeah, I do remember
And
seeing
is
that
that
in here. Let me
appropriate to do
just
right
find it.
now?
Let's
So
see.
what we'll do
I
is,
think that'll be coming before council at a meeting.
so that recommendation has already been forwarded to staff? Is that what I understand?
Is there a timing problem on the grant?
It seemed to me that there was some urgency with that.
Where did I see that?
Because we will be meeting on December 20th, and we could bring it to the council agenda if that is a timely action. That would give the staff time to put together the staff report to go with the recommendation from the Arts Commission.
I did find a part here in the minutes that says, Councilor Reed to seek approval for the commission to apply for grants to fund the roundabout cows and/or the splash fountain mosaic, as long as the match does not exceed the commission's current budget authority for the year.
I believe we have it on our calendar. We saw nothing
Okay.
that was super time sensitive. So
Okay.
when
Okay.
we got a copy of the minutes and put it in our calendar, so.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Check that off, and we've got it done. All right, thank you very much. Okay, anyone else for committee reports this evening? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Kohler had a question for you, Beth. My bad.
Hi.
Thank you. I had just a couple of things.
Yes.
Is the form for the Christmas cards, is that going to be put on the website?
It is on the city website.
It's on the city website.
I'll have to double check with Debbie because she, sometimes we've had a banner at the top of when you go to the homepage, there's a banner, but you can also get to it if you go through it's committees and then the Public Art Commission, and there should be a way to get to it there. We're also going to have, I believe that they printed out a bunch of copies to hand out to people, because that's how we feel like we can get to the kids. We really love it when kids apply, and we've had several children that have won in the past. So, and also I believe that Debbie contacts our local media and announces it there as well, so.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you very much. And the
Uh-huh.
second question has to do with the flag sculpture that isn't up anymore.
Yes, I believe he's going to paint that. I think he's going to put some color on it, bling it up a little bit. And then we're going to be finding another location to put that up.
Okay, I just had a constituent ask me about it, and I go, I don't know.
Yeah,
And I figured, you're
yeah.
here, great, I can find out.
Right. Yeah, that one's called Iron Glory. And am I recalling correctly, Laura, that
Yeah,
he's going to put some color onto
And
it?
it's
Yeah.
moving to a different place on
location.
River Road in front of V2 Dentistry.
Oh, that's right, yes. We have several locations up and down River Road, and V2 Dentistry we thought was a great one that has a big field out front. A lot of times they do, like the Christmas trees are up there right now. So it's a great, you can get great sight on it as you're driving down River Road.
Appreciate the work y'all do, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, we're good, thank you. Any other committee reports this evening? Okay, so that then takes us to public comment. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have one public hearing this evening, that is for Ocean Sushi and Teriyaki liquor license application. Before we get into the people who have signed up to speak, we're going to go to 6A, which is city manager recruitment, public comment. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to refer this one to the city attorney. It has to do with the necessity for the city to publish the criteria for selecting a new city manager and have public opportunity. We actually, well, I'm probably preempting Shannon's speech here, but we really had that opportunity earlier, but we did not explicitly list it on the agenda, so we're doing that tonight.
Thank you, Wes, Madam Mayor and Council. As Wes indicated, Oregon Public Meetings Law allows executive sessions to consider a city manager appointment, but requires the council to adopt standards and hiring criteria at a meeting with an opportunity to comment, which is more or less all our meetings. It does not require a public hearing. It was pointed out after the meeting last time that there wasn't a specific allowance of that, and so we thought we should put that under the public comments section tonight. So with that, if the mayor wants to invite any comments specifically, not general comments, but specifically on this issue regarding the standards and criteria that were adopted, now would be the time to do that.
All right, thank you very much. So before we get into the general public comment time period, was there anyone who would like to address the council specifically on the city manager recruitment standards that we'll be using going forward? Okay, I'm not hearing anybody, and of course, written comment is, can always be sent to the city on this and other matters. City Attorney.
Another matter completely unconnected with that, Madam Mayor, that I neglected to mention to you before the meeting. We have on the agenda, after the public hearing, an administrative matter regarding the Kaiser Rotary Amphitheater and the request for proposals item. It's my understanding there may be some people here to talk about that tonight, and in those cases, usually we look to the mayor or the council to determine whether you want to take those comments now under public comments or you want to wait till that agenda item. So I thought I'd point that out at this time.
Thank you very much, and I had pulled those out actually with that same thought, so even though you haven't said it, apparently we're on the same page. So I have 4 people who are signed up to speak specifically to item 8A. So unless there is objection, to pull those out and take that testimony specific to that, just prior to that administrative action. Any objection to separating out that particular group of public comment? Okay. So we are on the same page there. So I'm going to pull these aside for 8A. That said, before I get into the public comment period, I do want to acknowledge for the record a written public comment from a Joshua Buckles, who did not list a city of residence, and his topic is "Say No to the Salem Casino." So that will be included in the record. With that, I'd like to go to public comment and just whatever order. I'm going to start off with Baron Robinson to talk about the Kicking Cancer Festival 2022. Good to see you, sir. And if you have, just state your name, your city of residence for the record, and you have 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. My name is Baron Robinson. I actually live in Salem, but we have a very strong presence here in Kaiser. So I am the founder and executive director of Kicking Cancer. We're a local nonprofit. We were founded with the vision of reducing new cases of cancer. President Nixon started the National Cancer Institute 50 years ago. And back then there were 600,000 new cases of cancer. Last year there was 1.8 million. So it's going the wrong direction. So we're trying to educate people on how to hopefully not get cancer, but at the same time support locally. So all of the money that we raise, all the awareness we do stays local. Specifically, we have a newsletter that I have given each of you. You have the last 3 quarters, well actually the last 2 quarters in the upcoming quarter. There are numerous stories in there of local, yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So there's 3 newsletters there. There's a couple of stories specifically to Kaiser inside of the newsletters. In our 4th quarter newsletter, on the front, there's a story of Lyndon Zeitz, who beat lymphatic cancer and then again beat prostate cancer. There's also a story of Bob Shackelford, who is in the room here, and beat blood cancer. So we are here to tell stories of local people in the fight with cancer. The upcoming issue is the Q1, which you also have, and another local resident, Gene Zielinski, who is currently in the fight with kidney cancer that has moved to his lungs. So the other thing that we do as an organization is quarterly we rally around somebody. So the easiest analogy is Make-A-Wish Foundation. Somebody's friend submits their friend's name to be rallied around, and previous city councilor Amy Ryan Corser submitted Gene Zielinski's name. So Q1 of next year, we call him a Go Team, so let's Go Team Gene. There's a lot of cost involved with his co-pays, and we're trying to do a fundraiser to help offset some of those costs. So this is just kind of an awareness for you of what we're trying to do here inside of Kaiser. The other thing that I want to make you aware of is we had our inaugural festival, which you have a copy of our flyer from our inaugural festival. The dates are all set for our 2020, that would be our inaugural one there. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's our inaugural festival. So our second one will be this next year. And all of the events from our second festival are here in Kaiser. So we're doing a charity golf tournament in June out at McNary. And then I'm working alongside the Walkers to finalize the date, but we'll do a cancer awareness weekend at the Volcano Stadium.
And then in August, we're going to do an awareness walk, and we'll basically start at Volcano Stadium and then walk through Keizer Station and then back to Volcano Stadium. So I bring all that to your attention because like any nonprofit, people need to know who we are, but more importantly, that there's funds that are needed to keep us moving forward as an organization. And so this isn't a request specifically for the city, but more of an awareness to who we are, what we're doing, and help us get the word out. We have a great board of directors, and one of your own city councilors' daughter is on our board of directors. So Kyle's daughter's on our board. So that's who we are, and if you have any questions, I'm here just to tell you that we as an organization are strongly supporting Kaiser and hoping you can help us as we move into next year.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you and your entire organization for supporting people in our community who are dealing with cancer and just helping encourage them with stories of survival and of thriving through each individual's case. So thank you so much for that. And definitely get us the dates for all of the plans and events for 2022. We're a very generous community, and we show up, as you know, and this is an opportunity for us to continue to show up for our neighbors in Kaiser. Definitely appreciate this opportunity. What is your website again, so people who are watching can go to your website?
And Lewis Media Group, who is another one of your local businesses, provides our website. So it's kicking-cancer.org. There's a hyphen between the words, so it's kicking-cancer.org is our website. And there's a spot that says stories. If you click on that, I think there's up to like 30 or 40 stories on there. The most recent story that went on, they're active blogs, so you can add comments, but the most recent one is Gene Zielinski's story. There's also Lisa Walker's stories on there, Victoria Shin. Some of you might know who Victoria Shin's stories on there. There's lots of, your mom's there too.
Fantastic. Any other questions for Ms. Robinson? All right, thank you so much. Keep on kicking. Carol Dorfler talking about West Kaiser Neighborhood Association.
I will, but I need to give you something first.
If you want to give that to Tracy, then she can get it to us. Is that fabulous newsletter that just came out?
You saw it already.
You emailed it.
I didn't do it.
Carol did. Carol Phipps did.
Carol Phipps. Hi, my name is Carol Dorfler. I'm president of the West Kaiser Neighborhood Association. And we met this summer and kind of noodled about how we could reach out to our neighbors even more through we already have a brochure, we have signs. It just seemed like we needed to get something else in front of people's faces, and people are so busy. And so we came up with the idea of a newsletter, and we sent the first one out in September. And hopefully it went well. We did not receive any feedback from it, unfortunately. But then we decided we could do this quarterly. And Carolyn Holman, where are you? Carol Phipps are our scribes and write the stories. Rob Witter, I don't think Rob came tonight, is a board member, and he puts it all together. And then Carol Phipps sends it out to our roster. So I hope you will enjoy it. I've had 2 people reach out to me through our website and our Facebook page to please add their names to our list so that they could receive it. So hopefully this will broaden out. Each of the board members has a brochure box. And in that brochure box, we've put copies of our newsletter. And so hopefully people will be going by and they'll reach in and say, whoa, what is that? And take it home with them. So that's what we're doing. We've always been good stewards of the city's money. And I hope that we get, that this goes forth and we can generate some more interest in our neighborhood association.
Thank you very much. This is beautiful, and it is available electronically. has it been posted to the city website yet with, under our neighborhood association? So if that could get, because I think we have links, I know we do, on our city website for the neighborhood association, so definitely get the PDF to the city recorder's office for that.
Will do.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Questions for, and then your, West Kaiser is not meeting this month, correct?
No, we are not.
Okay, so January is the next meeting.
Yes,
All right, happy holidays.
yes, thank you. You too.
Okay, and next up I have, speaking of holidays, Corey Fullardo, Kaiser Christmas tree, lighting, giving baskets, parade, all that good stuff. We got, where is she? There she is. Yay.
Hello, everybody, Mayor Clark and councilors. I'm Corey Fullardo, Executive Director at the Keizer Chamber of Commerce. I live in Keizer over on Rivercrest, and I am here tonight to share that we are really ready for the holidays to arrive. Starting last week, all of Santa's elves have been hard at work in Santa Central, getting all of the gifts for all of our kiddos in Keizer ready and set up for delivery. Last count, we have 305 families that we're serving. I know I reported 179 last time I was here, but we were able to add a few more families. And super exciting for me, we added the Kaiser Head Starts this year, so super happy about that. So with that, tomorrow night is the Christmas tree lighting. Starts at 6 p.m. down at Wallery Plaza. We'll have a welcoming, and then Kaiser Art Association will present the thank you for the Christmas card. We'll have Santa arriving at 6:15. It will draw the name of one lucky boy and one lucky girl to help Santa light the tree. And Whitaker Middle School Choir will be there leading us in Christmas carols and some select songs that they'll perform for us. And we'll have cookies and cocoa available for everybody. And of course, Santa's bringing the candy canes. Then on Wednesday, December 8th, from 4 p.m. until finished, we will be wrapping as a community all of the gifts that everybody's provided for us to give the kiddos. We ask that you bring a roll of wrapping paper and tape and scissors just to help us get all these gifts wrapped. We kind of put numbers together, and we have about 2,500 gifts to wrap, so it's a lot. So we're super excited about it. We've been shopping and getting it all ready all week, and it's going to be fantastic. And then December 9th from 4 p.m. till we're finished, we have food sorting, and it's taking place at Santa Central. I don't think I said that earlier. 4100 Cherry Avenue, Santa Central, which is also known as the Kaiser Lions Club. Big shout out to them for letting us use their space. And then Saturday, at Santa Central, starting at 9 a.m., we ask that if you'd like to take part in delivery of these gifts to families in our community, come down and we'll take down your name, your driver's license number, your license plate number, and we'll give you the items, and you can take them out to the families and deliver them yourself. And we're happy to have you come back and do 2, 3, 4, 5 if you'd like. We're taking a little bit more precaution this year due to last year we lost a few boxes in delivery to folks who were a little bit sneaky. So we are taking a little bit extra precaution. So that's from 9 to noon or until finished. It could go past, but following the delivery, we have our Holiday Lights Parade. And I just want to go over quickly the road closures. Road closure for Lock Haven at McClure will start at 3:30 p.m. There will be no exit out of Celtic Way onto Lock Haven as staging for the parade will happen. And if you're in the parade and you want to be judged by Mayor Clark and our special guests, we need you to be in place by 4:45. The River Road closes down at 6 p.m. The Holiday Jingle Dash Run Run, Run Rudolph will start at 6:15 from the Kaiser Chamber office. It'll go down to Apple Blossom around the block and back. And then the parade kicks off at 7 p.m. And that goes from Lock Haven to Apple Blossom. And then I want to highlight, please check out the Kaiser Chamber Facebook page. We posted a map of all the food trucks and places that you can go get a yummy food. And then we have free cocoa and cookies and treats at some other places around Kaiser. So we have a great evening planned for everybody for the Holiday Lights Parade.
Well, and any hint to people who are competing in the floats, light it up and turn it up.
That's right. That's right.
Just saying. That gets my attention. All right, thank you. This is huge. I did have a chance to take a sneak peek at Santa Central today when I dropped off a couple of things. There's a lot more room than last year, a lot more elbow room, which is great. But that doesn't mean that there's more space because there's more baskets, more boxes than there were last year too. And it is the picture of organization. It's just amazing. And again, a huge shout out along with you to the Kaiser Lions for making their space available. They are such fantastic community partners.
Absolutely. And I'd like to shout out the key volunteers for this event from the No Group. Jill Gust, Leslie Reiswick, April McVeigh, Kaylin Wright, and Marcia Stallings. Gosh, there's so many more. But they've been down there every day since the start of moving into Santa Central. So I just really want to highlight them and give them a huge shout out.
Well, and you and Fatima.
That's right. We're there too. Woo!
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you're living there right now. All right. All of the dates and everything you all heard are on the website. They're on Facebook. And we know people are continuing to show up and help and are going to make this a smashing success. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm fortunate to be the liaison for the chamber this year. And I know Councilor Duran and I spent a little bit of time over at Santa Central today, and it is getting filled up. It is absolutely getting filled up. So it's neat to see all the donations and all the different things that come, and thank you, Chamber, and No, and Mac, and for everything that makes all this possible. Thank you.
Thank you. There's so many people who have showed up and been present just for one or two things, or hey, can you run and get this, or I need more boxes, can you go get that, or so big shout out and thank you for all the support. Appreciate it.
All right. Go Kaiser. Woo! All right, thank you. Okay, aside from item 8A, that is everybody I have who turned in a blue slip for public comment. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the council this evening under public comment, not 8A? Okay, then we will go to our public hearing. I'd like to open the public hearing on the Ocean Sushi and Teriyaki liquor license application. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe our city attorney has the staff report for this hearing. No? Managed to foul up my only two moments in the sun tonight.
Page 14.
This is simply a request for a liquor license for the Ocean Sushi and Teriyaki liquor license. As you can see in the report, which you had in your packet, we've received the application in November. It's for a limited on-premises sale license, and as a result, a public hearing is required, and at least as far as I know at this point, we've received no information in fact, the police department did comment on it. There's been no adverse comments that we've received on this application.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on the staff report? I don't have anybody signed up for the public hearing this evening. Is there anyone who would like to address the council on this matter for the Ocean Sushi and Teriyaki liquor license application? All right, seeing no comment. Anything further for the council before I close the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Didn't we change this process, or am I?
We are planning on changing the process.
Okay, I was just like, it's not been done yet. Okay, just checking. Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Good memory.
Very few little pieces, but that one did stick. I move that the Kaiser City Council recommend approval for the application of Ocean Sushi and Teriyaki under the guidelines as established by ORS 471.178 and the ordinances of the City of Kaiser. This recommendation shall then be forwarded to the Oregon Liquor Control Commission for final approval.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council recommend approval for the application for the Ocean Sushi and Teriyaki under the guidelines as established by ORS 471.178 and the ordinances of the City of Kaiser, and that this recommendation be forwarded to the Oregon Liquor Control Commission for final approval. Discussion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. That concludes public hearings for this evening. That takes us to item 8A, administrative action, authorizing city manager to sign Kaiser Rotary Amphitheater management agreement for city-sponsored concert series with Kaiser Chamber of Commerce. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This one, I believe the city attorney has been responsible for and is prepared to present the staff report.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wes, Madam Mayor, and Council. By way of background, KRA LLC, which is the entity operated by Clint Holland, and the city have had a management agreement for the free concert series at the Amphitheater for several years. A request for a proposal or RFP was produced and distributed when that contract ran out of the extensions earlier this year. That RFP was posted, and both KRA LLC, Clint Holland's entity, and Kaiser Chamber of Commerce submitted proposals. Those proposals went before an evaluation group. The evaluation group used the criteria set forth in the RFP and recommended approval of the Kaiser Chamber of Commerce. The scores were KRA LLC 129 and Kaiser Chamber of Commerce 150.5. Therefore, notice of intent to award was sent, and we've attached all the documents for your convenience. The Kaiser Chamber of Commerce and the city negotiated the contract, but in their proposal, they indicated the chamber was going to partner up with Valor Mentoring. And I indicated that since we could really only enter into a contract with one entity, that they should do a subcontract between them. And I coordinated that through the chamber and their attorney, and that subcontract was done as part of the packet also. So the new contract would be something we typically do, which is 3 years with an option to renew for 2 additional 2-year terms at the party's option. And the contract's been signed subject to council approval at tonight's meeting. Clint Holland sent an objection to process letter addressed to me on November 10, and that letter requests an extension of time and a public hearing. The extension of time can't be granted because it's way past. If there was something that the council wanted to do, as I'll explain later, you could open it up again, but the extension of time really can't be considered. Although it wasn't labeled as an actual protest letter, it had the elements of what a protest letter is. And a protest is the typical term used in competitive solicitation settings. Because of that, I connected with outside counsel, and he and I went over the matter. Since this is a contract for personal services, there's no statutory state law requirement for protests or an allowance for it. And neither our local ordinance or the RFP itself provided for a protest kind of process in this particular instance. So it really isn't subject to a formal protest. However, we both agreed that obviously the council can consider the letter and the issues raised in that letter tonight. I would not recommend a public hearing. That's typically not done for protests and competitive solicitations. It's really more of just a factual matter, looking over. It's not a really popularity kind of contest thing where comments are made like a land use matter would be. But council can certainly consider the elements in the letter. And I'm not going to go through the other items. I touched briefly on them in the staff report with regard to Mr. Holland's letter. council is free to choose to either award the contract to the chamber or choose to reject both proposals and do a new RFP. I mean, the only other choices would be to discontinue the concert series or try to hire employees from the city to run it, which really wouldn't make a lot of sense financially. But those are the choices for council, and you have a lot of discretion in that matter, and in terms of where you want to go with it. I think I covered that. So Mr. Holland's letter had basically two or three different issues. The main issue I think that he dealt with was some fairness issue with regard to the shortness of time that he had. So instead of 14 to 17 days, he had 11 days because the notice was misaddressed to a P.O. box he no longer had. We didn't have another mailing address for him, but that was where it was sent, and he did, and that is accurate, he did not receive it at the same time the chamber did. He had 11 days, so essentially with that regard to that issue, it's up to the council to determine whether you feel 11 days was sufficient for him to be able to prepare that proposal. The other items council can look at it in his letter with regard to the criteria. That's up to you to decide. But from the evaluation group's perspective, they are obligated to evaluate the proposals with regard to the criteria that are in the RFPs. I mean, they don't have any discretion in that way. So that pretty much wraps it up. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report? Jan, Smith, Reed, Herrera?
I have a question for, may I ask a question to Shannon?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Shannon Johnson, who is on the committee? Could you name the people on the committee that did the choosing or the rating or grading or whatever?
Certainly. There are 5 members on the evaluation group.
I wanted to do that too.
The Public Works Director, Bill Lawyer, Finance Director, Tim Wood, Parks Facility Manager, Robert Johnson, and Parks Board members, David Loudon and Matt Lawyer.
Thank you very much. I knew who they were because you had told me before, but I just wanted them on TV, so people in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Councilor Fuller? Okay. So with that, that we've had the staff report and questions, I will go to the people who have signed up to speak, and I will ask for other people if you have comments that you would like to add. I'm going to start off with Carol Dorfler, and on deck is Alyssa Davis.
Good evening. Carol Dorfler, longtime citizen, resident of Kaiser.
Closer,
Get
so,
closer.
yeah.
Turn it towards you.
There you go.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I think so.
There are a lot of people who can speak a lot more eloquently than I can, but I just want to say that Clint Holland is the epitome of a volunteer. He has spent many, many years, we all know how hard he has worked, not only at Little League, but at the Amphitheater. And I just think that this sets a really bad example for other volunteers who look at this and say, am I going to put my time in and then am I going to be kicked down the road? So, that being said, there's an old saying, and it's, if it ain't fixed, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. No, if it ain't broke, leave it alone. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Dorfler? All right, thank you very much. Alyssa Davis, and on deck is Clint Holland.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Davis, longtime Kaiser resident, and I wrote it down because I'm not a good public speaker, sorry. Just felt compelled to talk about it. I've been a part of Valor Mentoring for a long time, and I just feel like I've been seeing it all happen, so I'd like to say a couple things. The Kaiser Chamber of Commerce and Valor Mentoring partnering on this event will do a lot of things. They'll accomplish a lot of things, but among those few things, I just wanted to point out a couple of them that stand out to me, things that I'm passionate about as well. So they will, the partnership, when they do the event, they will upkeep the Kaiser Rotary Amphitheater, and they'll honor those who came before us and who served that event series, and as well as like the grounds themselves. It'll improve the level of production and communication for the event. They'll make a more diverse and dynamic attendance of the event, as well as create opportunities for young people to get experience working on a high production, high value event, and high attendance event. And those things are important values that are being put into practice. Those are like, I gotta read them, sorry. Those things, important values, are like honoring those who came before us, striving for excellence in all things, creating space for every type of person, and investing in young people. I was invested in, and I think that it has been a great time learning about production at my school, and so I just want to create those opportunities for young people as well. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions for Ms. Davis? Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. Davis, you said that you have a plan to increase diversity, more diverse. What did you mean by that?
By that, this is just me talking, right, when I say about, but I think that means creating space and like advertising this event to a lot more young people, diversifying both the age and also just like the different brands of people. I'm going to call it brands, like different interests, different bands, and different, things draw different people. And so I've lived in a very diverse community, and so I think it's been cool to see those people cater to and advertise to as well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Davis? All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Clint Holland. On deck then is Richard Day.
Clint Holland, and I live in Keizer on Shoreline Drive. I want to talk about two things. One, some of the things many people may not know that KRA has done at the amphitheater. And the other thing I want to talk about is the process that happened. And I'm not sure exactly on the date, but I had called Tammy, about a month or month and a half before that process started. And she says they were still working on that process, and that they would mail it to me and email it to me when they get it done. Time goes by, I get a call from a city council member and asks me how I'm coming off the RFP. And I said, I haven't seen the RFP. They haven't mailed it to me and they haven't emailed it to me. So I called Tammy, talked to Tammy about it. She says, yeah, we mailed it to Post Office Box 750, which I haven't had for 10 years. And all the communication I've had has been to my address and to my email and to messaging on my phone. Every contract that I sign with the city and every band has my address, my phone number, and none of it ever showed the post office box. I didn't get to see this deal because I was out of town till I think the 23rd. And so I had very little time to do this. I did talk to a staff member, and he said the only thing I have to fill out is the RFP content. Okay? Now, other people since then have said different things to me. It made sense. They asked 6 questions. All the rest of the stuff that I didn't talk about is the city telling me what I have to do. Like I have to have $1 million insurance. I have to do this on the parking. I have to do this on the liquor. And I put okay by all that stuff because I already do it. And I put okay or yes. But I was amazed at the RFP because I only had to answer the content. Anyway, I did talk to Shannon about it, that I didn't have enough time. And before I could ask for an extension, he said, I can't give you an extension. And so we went on to the process after that. I want to cover real quick things you may not know that I do at the amphitheater all the time and have for over the years. I help all the other people that come out there. And what I mean by that, because they work out there cold, they don't know where the electricity is, they don't know where to put the garbage. So I do a lot of stuff to help people like homegrown theater, the weddings, the Hawaiian luau. These are not part of my contract, but I help them on the bathrooms because the bathrooms are only cleaned once a week, and I have to clean it for them on the rest of their events when they're out there. Instead of them hauling bathrooms back and forth every day, I just charge them to clean it. I don't charge them for anything else. I don't know if you know, but this last year, I pressure washed the amphitheater, and I also pressure washed where you sit, because where your legs are had that much where the mold, and it took a week of us working out there just to clean all that stuff up. We trimmed all the trees out there. And what I mean by that, that storm that happened, we hauled 12 and a half trailer loads of debris out of the amphitheater. We cleaned everything up. Matter of fact, we couldn't get to everything, and there's still debris down in the amphitheater, logs and stuff from trees that came down. We water about 60% by hand of the amphitheater. Only 40% is on sprinklers. Robert Johnson calls me and he says, Clint, I got some problems with liability. I need somebody to help me take care of the trails after that big storm. I had 4 guys all day worked on that. And then Sunday, I had 2 more guys. They don't ever take into consideration all the other stuff. We put in 520 hours into that amphitheater a year ago when we never even had a concert because nobody was taking care of it. The city didn't have staff to do it. They were short help just all the way around. And this last year we put 648 hours in. And the reason that's higher this year is because of the trees and the stuff that we had to haul out of there. Thank you for letting me talk.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Holland? All right, thank you very much. Richard Day, and then on deck is Richard Walsh.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. I guess I start out after listening for a while and just thinking that cooperation and communication were important. I'm sorry, my office is on River Road. I live in Marion County. Better cooperation, better communication could have solved a lot of problems. This guy should have a gold statue out there made out of him, but that's not what he wants. What he wants is to do what he's always done, and the earlier speaker said so well. He's given so much to Salem and Keizer and Marion County, and he just wants to go out there and do what he loves and make the community a better place. And I have 5 bullet points here. The first one's about budget, and my assumption is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that both entities on this is going to cost the city nothing. Is that correct?
There's no consideration or money paid under the contract. In the last several years, Mr. Holland has asked and received a $2,000 stipend as part of the budget process, separate from the contract.
Thank you.
Thank you. Second is quality, and just that, you know, I was going to talk about private versus public and volunteerism, but your other proposal kills that in the sense that I guess it's both volunteer labor. I would say on the quality side, Mr. Holland, having done it from the beginning, this was his idea. You know, he put this thing together, he pulled the volunteers together to build it, and all the people that have been involved in that could give all of us a good example of volunteer work for the public. But he's put so much care and time into it, and you heard a lot of that. The other thing I heard, what I think is the contractor to the chamber, but maybe I misunderstood that, mentioned more than once high attendance. So I'm going to change things. I'm going to bring in a younger crowd. High attendance. I don't know. Is that good for the neighbors? Is that good for the police? Don't know. Culture. Rotary built this thing. And they built it. Clint's part of that. And the Rotary Club in Kaiser that's done so much for Kaiser, that's put well over $1 million into the community. Clint's a part of that. And Rotary blesses Clint's work and Clint doing what he does there. So consider the importance of that. The needs we have down there. So if there'd been better communication and better cooperation, those things would have been addressed on our part as well as probably on the city's part. But we need the food service situation improved. And we have ways to do that, and we're willing to proceed with that. And Clint needs help. He needs more help, and he should have an understudy. So I guess those are my primary comments. And I'm a fan of less government, so if I thought the city was running it, I was ready to come down here and get really upset. But I'm glad at least if you go the other way, it's still volunteers. No offense to my friends in city government.
None
Thank you.
taken. All right, thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Day?
All right.
Councilor Herrera?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, thank you for all you've done here, because
Thank
you've
you.
done quite a bit, and I
Council.
witnessed that. And thank you for taking the time to come and speak on Clint's behalf. I appreciate that. And
Thank you.
I'm glad somebody brought that up, because that is very important.
Thank you, Counselor.
Other questions for Mr. Day? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Walsh? And I don't have anybody signed up after that, so if somebody's feeling, okay, Ms. Fullardo will be after Mr. Walsh.
Hello, my name is Richard Walsh. I'm a small business owner and a resident of Kaiser, a small business owner of a business in Kaiser as well. I'm also a member of the Chamber, and I would like to say right off the bat that, I mean, we all have various degrees of relations with the Chamber. Chamber's a great organization. We all love them. I don't want anyone to get the impression that people that want and support Clint are against the Chamber, because the Chamber's a great group. But that's part of the reason why we want to be careful that when we award a contract to a group that we all have connections with and we all think is a great group, make sure we do it the right way. And we know for a fact, I want to just talk about procedure. We know for a fact that Clint was given at least 6 days less than the Chamber. And it just happened. It was a mistake, and we acknowledge that the city made a mistake. That's not the procedure we want to use when we're going to make a major decision to tell a major volunteer. And Mr. Day, he also donated pretty much all the blocks that built the Keizer Rotary Amphitheater. They're both members of the KRA. And when we tell a group that, I know you built it, I know you put all this work into it, I know you did all these things that you heard about, but the procedure was you lost out. Fine, but make sure the procedure is fair. Now, some people may say 6 days less is not a big deal, but you have to also remember that this was done during the most busy period of the Kaiser Rotary Amphitheater season. It was right before the major concert. And Clint was busy with that as soon as he got back from being out of town. So it's not just a random time that this happened. Plus, it's a 35% reduction from what the Chamber was given. And if you go by what Clint wrote in his paper, it's actually, it could be up to a 58% reduction of time that he had compared to the Chamber. And the time that he had, he was busy doing the Rotary Amphitheater projects. So what is the big deal about just making a wrong right? Just admitting we did something wrong, sorry. I don't think the Chamber would even want to win this way. They're a great group, so why not just open it back up and right what was wrong, and then let the cards fall where they may. And if it turns out that the Chamber's picked under the correct procedure where everyone's given the fair opportunity, the same opportunity, then so be it. But as you go back, you have a wonderful opportunity to fix the system regarding the request for proposals on these volunteer projects. And I talked about that with the Little League. It was too late. It's not too late here. There should be a point, something, any kind of points for people building these things in the first place. Some kind of points for all the effort that puts into it. Some kind of point for working on the project year round, even when there's not a single concert. And so I'm going to say that, when you go back, you should go back because you didn't give them the same amount of time. When you go back, just fix those little points. And on that little, you got copies of the little criteria. Make one of the criteria encouraging volunteerism. What will encourage volunteerism, or something along those lines, or who built the darn thing? Get a point for it. Get a couple of points. Otherwise, it's a slap in the face of these great volunteers, and the ones that follow behind them and in front of them. I mean, we're going to depend on volunteers we already depended on it to build the Rotary Amphitheater, but not just that. The golf course, all by volunteers who use the facility. We got the volleyball that's all built by volunteers. We got the soccer fields at Whitaker, all built by volunteers that use the facility. I mean, we want to send a clear message. It's part of our mission to send a clear message that we're supporting volunteers. And how is this statement that we make today going to support volunteers? What can we do? What little thing can we give that'll support volunteers that really earns us the name of supporting pride, spirit, and volunteerism? What can we do? Well, this is what we can do. We can do a little something, reopen this thing up. They're both going to put in their applications again, fine, but let them have the same chance to give the same kind of application. And I can go through all these criteria, but I think I'm almost out of time. But if you were to go through the criteria, you'd see that many of them are way heavily weighted for penmanship and spelling, and not really spelling, but completeness and things that more time would make a difference. Included a complete and clear response to everything in the RFP content section. There was 6 extra points given to the chamber just for that. That's just paperwork. That's nothing to do with what they're doing. It's just paperwork. Okay, and then they were given another 5 points for the adequate range of services offered by the firm. Well, we never asked in the application, the RFP, we never asked, did you build this thing? Did you volunteer for it? Are you working on it on the off season? You know, all those extra services were never asked, so they never graded them. That's how this works. So let's fix the system and let's do what's right. So, and the alternative is, Clint and Mr. Day, they'll find other things to volunteer for. They want their lives to matter. They want things to be making a difference. And if the chamber gives a shot at this and decides not to do it the next year, they won't be here. And you're going to have to answer for that too. So make sure the process is fair.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Any questions for Mr. Walsh?
Are you a lawyer?
Anybody watching who doesn't know the answer to that question, the answer is yes.
Oh, yeah, the answer is yes.
Yeah, but anyway.
But I'm not here as Clint's lawyer.
No.
I'm here because I also care a great deal about the volunteers of the city.
Well, as a longtime city councilor and do other volunteerism in the community, you are well suited to make a comment in that regard. Any questions for Mr. Walsh? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is Corey Fullardo, and on deck is Tim Davis. Or you can come together however you choose. But it's 5 minutes.
I get 2:31.
Okay.
No. Tim Davis, longtime resident. I live on Rivercrest, last 17 years. I serve on 5 nonprofit boards. I run Valor Venturing, and we have 225 volunteers within our organization. We produce about 24 public music events per year, from small scale to large scale. So I guarantee you we're suited to produce and do what we're talking about doing. Volunteerism won't be a problem. I think that for those of you who know the former Town and Country Lanes and the rec, that's our facility now. I think that if you've seen how we've honored Don and Ann through their longtime service, I think the same thing should be done for Clint and his longtime service. I think we're all volunteers, right? And so but things need to move forward. We will bring dozens of young people to video produce, light produce, and music produce this type of event and take it to a whole nother level. So I really don't think that's even why we're here. You guys have, I mean, the law is the law, and we're there. So you got something?
Yeah, I just want it to go on record that we are honored to follow in Mr. Clint Holland's footsteps, and really tried to partner with him, and we want him to come along with us because we need to learn. And I think there's something to be said about us coming up behind him and learning from him, and then bringing the youth up behind us so that we can really empower our young people in Kaiser to really take advantage of an opportunity of a series of events that they can participate in every weekend if they want to. Cleaning the park, working on the grounds, working on the food, production, sound. We just really want to make this a fantastic series of concerts for our youth, all the way up to our oldest patron of the concerts. And I think it's going to be a safe place for young people to old people to come and participate in concerts together. We really want to honor our youth by having youth bands open for our larger bands that come, and really train them up in how to be a great band and perform in front of the community. And this gives them the opportunity to do that. So thank you so much.
Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Fullardo or Mr. Davis? Looking, Smith, Duran, all right. There are no additional questions. Thank you very much. Councilor Kohler? Is that no, by the way?
I do have a question.
Okay, for which one?
These guys would be fine. How do you see How do you see a partnership with Mr. Holland working?
Well, we invited him to engage at any level, and at this point, it doesn't seem yet that that's something that would happen, but we're still open to that, From a booking bands, from those type of perspective, we definitely have the expertise in all those areas, but as far as, the facilities and those type of things, there's plenty of opportunity for us to continue to learn. Yeah.
Is that something that you would continue to work on and try to accomplish?
Certainly,
Absolutely.
yeah. Yep. I mean, if you guys have seen what we've done with the rec and Don and Ann, that's the way our organization operates, right? I'm very grateful for people who've went before us. We'll continue to do that at the rec as well as the amphitheater. So.
Thank you.
Councilor Herrera?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And, I think I like the excitement that you have and all that. I wish, and I'm probably too late for this, but I wish there was a way, because in all honesty, Clint's my mentor, and I've worked with him for over 30 years, and there's something to be said, what Rich said about points for some of that, and I was going to say Kaiser doesn't treat the volunteers that way, but I guess they do sometimes. In terms of his experience, and is it too late to work something out where you can do 6 each or something like that, or half and a half each or something? Because that valuable experience would probably help you, I think, like Corey was saying. I like what you say about the young people, because that turns me on. You say the right things, Corey, that. But I wish there was a way to work something out where both of you guys could be contributing, because I don't think, to me, in my mind, Kaiser doesn't treat their folks that do, and I think it all goes back to fairness. What Rich said about I would like to see just the same, either that or working together on maybe half and half each. There's got to be a way we can work together. I don't know. That's kind of my first choice. Because if you can't, I would like to see a reopening where they both have the exact same time, at least that much. And maybe you'll get it all the same thing. But I think Rich made some really good points, and I really, nothing against the chamber. You guys, I think you've got some good, exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, so just to clarify, ma'am, I'm a Rotary member as well as a Chamber member. It's not just talk when we say about youth. Our organization services 600 young people a month. I know. Right? So, we're not first rodeo. But as far as the partnership, there's partnership opportunities, but contractually and all that, the 6 and 6, that really wouldn't work. Somebody's got to own it and be responsible for it, right? And so I don't think that's a viable option. So, yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Good work, though.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else would like to address the council on this contract? All right. So that concludes the public testimony on this. Councilors, any questions that you have? Duran, Smith, Reed, Herrera.
None right now.
Kohler.
I think I've asked mine, thanks.
Okay. I have one question. In the request for proposal, there were some elements on taking care of the facility. A number of projects were described by Mr. Day and Mr. Holland. Is parks maintenance an element, especially outside of the concert series, an element of the contract?
Of the RFP, you mean, or the contract? No, it's not.
Okay, so these were, the services that were described were not ones that were under the current contract or that are being considered in tonight's contract. Those were extra, those are outside of that.
Correct.
That arrangement.
For extra volunteer efforts.
Okay.
Outside the contract.
And that's something that was requested or required under the current arrangement?
It was not required.
Okay, thank you. Council President Smith, are you? I'm sorry, Councilor Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess I would like to clarify, since time seems to be such a big issue with this particular process, what would be considered a reasonable time frame for this? Was the original, what was it, 17 days?
Roughly. I mean, it was mailed out. By the time they received it, it would have been a little over 2 weeks.
So, and that's pretty
That's the
standard?
chamber, right?
Okay.
So Mr. Holland probably received it somewhere between 8 and 10 days after the chamber did, roughly.
Okay.
So his total amount of time, he had 11 days to get it in. The chamber had maybe 16, roughly.
Okay, and if we were to open this again, would it be the same amount of time, or would it be perhaps a little bit more expedited?
Well, given the time of year it is and the lead time to put it together, if the council directed us to reopen and resend it, we would probably reduce that a little bit. We'd probably reduce an RFP has several different timelines in it. And so we would probably just shave a couple of days off of each of those so that we could get to the end game a little quicker, so we wouldn't be too close to the opening of the season.
Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Okay, Councilor Herrera?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Would that be acceptable to the chamber to reopen it for a smaller, is that something I can ask, or is that?
Not at this point, no. We can't have that, that conversation. That to be, but to the point of timing, is getting this process done so that the contractor has time to book the bands and also to plan for the activities of the upcoming season. So we are kind of pushing the envelope at this point.
When does the season start?
Usually late June.
The actual
middle
first
June.
concert is then, but the planning
Yeah.
and the contracting with bands happens way before that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, that's the point I was trying to make, is we would have to really rush this because there is a lot of pre-planning done.
Right, and you can't always, if you want to book the acts that you want, you've got to do that in advance. You can't do that last minute. So there's a lot of timing that's involved with planning a series like this, so that we have to be aware of as well. I do have a question on the scoring. In how proposals are generally scored in public procurement, there's a recognition that the advantage generally goes to the incumbent. When I do procurements in my day job, we know that the current contract holder has the advantage because they have the history, they have the experience, and they have their prior applications. So adding points, if you will, or criteria for prior experience, I would think that would show up in the proposal itself. Is it acceptable to, and not in my world, but maybe it is in city contracting, to add points just because you've done it before without actually demonstrating that in the proposal itself?
Yes, it is. Typically, though, the incumbent would get it not as an automatic thing, but because it's listed in the proposal, in the RFP as an actual criteria. And there is, in this RFP, it says they rate it including the breadth and relevance of experience in event management. And so the evaluators had that to score. So the evaluators scored those fairly closely. I didn't look through all of them. The issue is whether or not it says relevance of experience. Clint's obviously is relevant, but it also says breadth. So the scorers scored what they scored. It was part of the process.
So that was included, but we don't have extra points for work product or deliverables outside of what the proposal is
What's
supposed to
actually
cover.
written in the proposal.
Right. You can only stay within the four corners. What we've asked for is what needs to be responded to. Okay.
Correct.
Because that's how it works in my world, public procurement, and I want to make sure that was what we were covering here. Okay, thank you. Councilor Herrera?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One last point that I want to point out. I noticed that, with the Clint having less time, which whatever it was, and that it was nobody's fault, right? The the part where it says, included complete and clear responses, I mean, he got half of what the other folks did. I think that would affect the writing of his proposal. And that's why I would think it would be better to just open it up, even if it's a short amount of time. At least it would be the same amount for each person, each party. And again, nothing against the chamber. I think they got some good ideas, you know. It's all for fairness is what I'm looking at. So that's my point. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I guess my only other question is, because we heard from Mr. Holland, he got it, but then didn't, said that he was on vacation. And, however people spend their time between when they receive a request for proposal and they turn it in is up to that applicant. And not working on it is...
But in this case, it was nobody's fault because he sent it to another...
Right, but from that date, he indicated in his own testimony that he was on vacation.
All right.
So, and whether or not you work on vacation, I mean, I don't know, I take my computer everywhere, so it happens. But anyway, I just want to make sure we're clear on the timeline.
I just worry about fairness, that's all. Thank you.
Absolutely. Worry about fairness and completeness. So,
Rules.
Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One of the things that I've wondered, I don't know if I can do this. We have a member of one of the bands that has been participating in that. What are you really looking for in someone to run that venue?
That person didn't volunteer to participate in the public testimony portion.
Okay.
So unless that person wanted to participate, but I wouldn't want to call them out if they didn't choose to participate in public testimony.
You can call me up.
All right. All right, thank you very much. So, okay.
Up to the council.
And if you would just state your name and your city of residence for the record.
Yeah, Mike Lowry, I live in Salem.
Okay.
Your question?
Oh, the question is, what are you really looking for as someone to run the venue? Is this a venue that you really like, and how has it worked for you in the past, and what would you like to see in the future?
Well, having played there 10 years in a row, except for last year, it's my favorite venue in all the valley. I love the venue. What Clint and Rick did and the Rotary and everybody, it's a fantastic venue. We love it. JFK loves to play there. My other band, Fam Jam, has played there once, and we'd like to play there again. My concerns, I'm not really concerned, my hopes for the amphitheater and the event that happened there are that they're professionally done. And what I have not heard at all from anybody is from the music side. And I thank you, Councilor Kohler, for bringing that up. I see, I guess okay, you guys, a couple people have talked about, can it be split up somehow between Clint and the chamber? What I would like to see is more professional production and a more consistent production and I think the chamber's idea can bring that. I think that Clint has the operational expertise, the maintenance and all that of the actual facility. I don't see how there couldn't be maybe two RFPs, one for the production, one for the operations, or somehow that be a combined effort. If you'd like more specifics about that, myself and other music professionals and production people could probably provide you more detailed information to help along those lines, but I'm not prepared to give that right now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lowry.
Yeah, but those are my thoughts.
Great, thank you very much. Any other questions? And thank you for being willing to come up and let us know your perspectives. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Council President Smith, are you comfortable putting a motion on the table for discussion?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because we're going to get really close into deliberation. Actually, I think we've kind of been, okay, if we do that, then we're opening it up to a whole another round. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for the courtesy, and council for giving me another moment. I heard something here a little bit ago. If I'd been in court, I would have yelled objection. What I heard was that Public Works doesn't take care of it. Clint does everything, and the new proposal doesn't contain that at all, and we don't seem to have discussed that here. And that was my first question when I came up earlier, was budget. So it's not free. We have to think about a half-time parks person, a quarter-time parks person. I just think that should be discussed. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Witham, do you, no, actually it's Mr. Lawyer. On the parks maintenance question, because that was not included in the required deliverables. As I, or at least not, anyway, I'll let you address it.
Maintenance of the amphitheater was not part of the request for proposals or responses to those. That is correct. I spoke with the Parks and Facilities Division Manager, Robert Johnson, before the RFP was issued and asked him, can we absorb the maintenance requirements for the amphitheater with park staff? His answer was yes. So I directed or requested Shannon to put the RFP together with no maintenance requirement included in it at all. And the reason I did that is because we put this out for public bid. We don't know who's gonna submit a proposal. It might be somebody from Portland that we don't even know. They might win the RFP. I didn't want to have somebody that I had no experience, no knowledge, knew nothing about, responsible for maintaining our amenity within our park. So we, the city staff, will maintain the facility to a level commensurate with the needs of the amenity. Not just for the concert series, but for any weddings, graduations, or whatever other events are scheduled for that amenity.
And is the proposer required to provide services for those events outside of the contract?
No.
Thank you.
Anything that whoever happens to be the successful operator of the summer concert series, any assistance, help, work, maintenance, they provide as a bonus.
Okay. But it has to be under the supervision of our Parks Department.
And
Parks
coordinating with our
Supervisor.
park staff, yes.
Yes, okay. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to clarify, as I said earlier, that was true under all the old contracts too. So there was no, we didn't change anything. There was no requirement for these additional efforts in the old contracts either.
All right, thank you.
And if I may, Madam Mayor, there's no question Mr. Holland spent countless hours at the amphitheater. There's no question about that. All of that was on his own doing. That was not requested by the city. It was not asked by the city. It was Clint doing what Clint does because he's Clint. So I just want to make that clear. And well, we certainly appreciate all those efforts. Don't get me wrong. Everything that was done was greatly appreciated. But there was very few things over the years. Well, let me back up. In the early years of the concert series, there were some things that we asked to be done because we didn't have the staff. We just physically didn't have the people. As we have gained more people on our staff, those needs have gotten less, and so we feel that we can meet the maintenance needs with city staff, both permanent staff and temporary employees.
Is that also a liability issue? I mean, having it being done by staff, because we know these are our staff people covered under our insurance, when there are projects being done outside of the contract.
It hasn't been a liability issue because the proper volunteer forms have been completed by Mr. Holland's volunteers, and I would assume the same with the chamber if they're going to do it. So the liability issue is kind of moot at that point.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Davis? No, okay. Anyone else, since we reopened it back up, anybody else would like to share their thoughts? Okay. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the Kaiser City Council adopt Resolution R 2021 authorizing the city manager to sign Kaiser Rotary Amphitheater Management Agreement for city-sponsored concert series with the Kaiser Chamber of Commerce.
Do I have a second? Okay. Motion dies for lack of second. Direction of City Council to staff. We have several choices before us. We can, let's go back to what our options are since we don't have a motion and second to adopt the resolution for the contract. We can restart the RFP process, fund and operate the concert city with additional city employees, or discontinue the concert series. So those are the three other options, and maybe it's something else. So the desire of council at this point is to
Yes.
Councilor Herrera?
I'd like to move that we open back up, and even if that's, I'd like to move that we open it back up, and even if we have to do it in a shorter time limit, at least they'll have the same amount of time. And
Hang on, I need to, before we go into deliberation, so your motion is to reopen it for an abbreviated time period?
right,
With
to
no
make it
change?
fair, right. I would like to see it open, although it's a shorter time,
Okay.
that it'll be fair for both to apply.
Okay, so that's the motion? I need a second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, the Kaiser City Council direct staff to reopen the RFP process with an abbreviated timeline that will have the same timeframe for all potential applicants. Discussion. Are there any changes that council wants to make to the request for proposal itself? If we're going back out, are you asking anything different from the applicants, or are you asking the same thing? Councilor Herrera?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't know if there's any points like Rich said about, what they did. I think it's okay the way it sits. That way, the way they come back and the same thing happens again, then they get it, whoever. Here's what stuck out to me, I'm gonna be honest with you. It was 6 points difference. And there was most of the points were done on the clear responses, and I really attribute that to last minute writing, because I saw his writing, it's like me, that's how I propose stuff, I kind of scribble stuff, and I think that had to do with it, although I believe, like I said, I like the direction they're doing, but at least we'll start with two, same amount of time for each person, and that's my angle, the fairness, the experience is one thing, but the fairness is what I'm looking at here.
Thank you, Councilor Reed. Sorry, Mr. Johnson.
I just wanted to clarify, I believe there was about 21 points difference, 129 to 150.5.
I was talking about that one particular, about being, the clear responses and complete items.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
One particular,
instead of total scores. I see.
The total scores were significantly more.
To attribute to last minute writing, that's how I look at it,
Councilor Reed.
how I do stuff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think that, that the RFP should stand as is, because it does speak to a level of professionalism, and I think that's really important in terms of this contract. And so we certainly do value everything that, the volunteerism, the countless contributions of blood, sweat, and tears, and that's what Kaiser is all about. However, I don't feel that should entitle people to a professional contract necessarily. So I think that the RFP should stand as it is, and we should just give it, as Councilor Herrera says, just in terms of the fairness. And, the argument can certainly be made, and I could see that was fair to begin with. But I think that just in terms of community unity, that it's important to validate our volunteers through unquestionable fairness.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Councilor Kohler?
So can we set a time limit on this now?
My preference would be to allow staff to do the time limits, because we have to calculate the holidays and mailing and things like that. I mean, if you want to set an outside time limit, you can. We would work backwards from that.
Well, I just know that there's some things that are time sensitive, so that we can get bands booked and all those things.
Now, believe me, we will
I just
move
think
projects
we
to
need to do
expedite
it
this.
sooner rather than later, and put some.
If there's no changes to the RFP, it won't be very tough.
Okay. Further discussion? Council President Smith?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Couple things on this. am a little concerned about using the same people who did the last RFP, because now generally is that you really don't know who you're turning it into. Is that correct? Or is it, when you're submitting an RFP, do you know who's grading it?
Actually, typically, we do put in, although we have an out if somebody's unavailable, typically we list the titles, not the names of who's doing it. Frankly, I was going to be checking with the city manager about that issue and determining what would be an appropriate change there. However, the council wants to weigh in on who should be in the evaluation committee, you can do so. Or you can just delegate that to staff and say that you want them changed, however you'd like to do it.
Just in my experience with public procurement, this is procuring a personal services contract, and my preference would be to use staff on this, and the workload is something that we don't control. So I think it's best if staff determines who's going to be available to be able to take this on, because it takes time to do this process thoughtfully and completely. The people who did the work and did the grading did that. They took the time and they read through and scored it in detail, and that's how it should be. So that would be my preference. Councilor Duran?
If this goes out, is it going to go out and be published so it goes to other entities also? I mean,
Correct.
it should start over completely.
It would be open again, it has to be.
Completely open, not just to these two parties?
Correct.
Correct. All comers would be able to do that, to submit a proposal under the same criteria. Okay, further discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passed unanimously, and we will proceed from there. Okay, we have a little time before 9 o'clock. Item 8B, which is a distance requirement for marijuana facilities. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe our planning director, Shane Witham, has the staff report on this particular issue. I will say that this deals with a situation where a business that formerly was in the business of selling marijuana finds themselves in a position to be unable to do so because of distance requirements that we have in our code. And so they're asking basically for special dispensation to be able to continue to operate to renew their business, which had been closed for a period of time. And I'll let Shane fill in the details.
Thank you, Wes. Madam Mayor, Council, I think that City Manager did a pretty darn good job of summing up the high points of the staff report. Yeah, that's exactly right. Kush, the marijuana retailer located at the corner of Dearborn and River, who've been operating there for several years. Their license lapsed. They didn't renew with the city because their OLCC license was expired, or revoked is not quite the right word, but kind of. And the letter that was submitted by the lawyer representing Kush, or Hami LLC, kind of spells that out. It's a big, long 2-page letter. I provided in the staff report the letter, our current ordinance, and a couple of maps. The letter specifically is requesting that council consider reducing the current distance requirement in our ordinance, which is 1,000 feet from retail shop to retail shop, down to 750 feet. The property in question just happens to sit, it's a little less than 850 feet. I was like 838 or something like that. Not survey work, that's just like Google Maps. So they're requesting to reduce that. And I put a little history in here. Honestly, a lot of the rules that we have and that we've held were done before my time. The staff people that were on the marijuana task force were retired Deputy Chief Coons and retired Community Development Director Nate Brown. I would have asked them, but I don't know that they would have remembered, as it was 2014 back when we had that committee. But that committee specifically looked at regulations for dispensaries, because marijuana retailers were not yet allowed in the state of Oregon because retail marijuana sales and recreational marijuana use wasn't allowed in the state of Oregon. It was in a response to the dispensary law that was passed. I did a little bit of looking. City manager kind of gave me a heads up. There might be some questions about, what does this really mean on the ground for us at the city level? And I kind of looked, and essentially with the reduction, and the maps kind of show it, but I went in and kind of counted the parcels, and it opens up 26 new parcels, theoretically, that could have marijuana retail locations on them that right now can't because of the 1,000-foot distance requirement. However, you have to understand that really probably realistically means maybe one new shop or possibly two. One of the ones that gets opened up on River Road is the current home of Casa. And I don't think they're moving anytime soon. I think Dick Withnell's pretty invested in that group. So I think, that's the only property that opens up in the southern part of town. So I don't think that changes anything. There are some properties that open up on Cherry Avenue near Candlewood, but if one of them came in, it would preclude all the rest of them. And that's similar in the other area on River Road, kind of in the core of River Road. There's about 9 properties that would open up that aren't currently allowed. There's only one in there that would be allowed right now. But again, if one of them came in, it would preclude any of the others from coming in. So yes, a reduction would change the number of facilities that are currently allowed or could be allowed in the city. And there is some area in the northern part of town where no facilities have come in that could right now. And obviously if a new one came in, if you got a 1,000-foot buffer versus a 750-foot buffer, there is a little bit of a difference. One thing I want to just make really clear is tonight, we're not asking council to make a formal decision on this. It's really as to whether or not the council wants to consider it at a future meeting with a public hearing and all of those types of things that would go along with that. The one thing that I would ask, and I think our city attorney probably would be the one that leads the charge if that's the route council goes, because I don't write ordinances, he does. But I would kind of be interested to know if there's any additional direction or information that you would want staff to bring back to you if you are going to move forward with setting it for a public hearing. And with that, I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you might have on it, but it is a pretty straightforward deal. In the downtime that Kush no longer had their license, we have a new shop at the home of the former Keizer nursery. They have a license now, although they're not operational business, but they have all of their paperwork in, and they're in the process of doing some work to get open. So, yeah, with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Why the 750 and not 800? Just curious, because what they're asking for, you said the distance between the two facilities is approximately 850.
Yeah, and I think it was like 830 something or 840 something feet, but again, we didn't get down to that level of detail. The reason, I don't know why Ms. Peters' letter requests 750. I think they probably looked at Google Earth also and wanted to be safe. That's my guess.
If I may, Madam Mayor, when we got a request, we just put in the request. So the 750 came from the attorney for the people that want to reopen Kush. So that's what's before you. So council could certainly look at this issue and decide it should be 8 or not change it or no limits, whatever you want to decide. But that we just put the request in as it came in.
Okay. And yeah, I do remember this process because I was on city council at the time. And I remember when the owner of the property at Kaiser Nursery came in and asked us to reconsider the distance, and council at that time declined to do so. And that was the end of the matter until now. So we have, Councilor Kohler, you had a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I was wondering how our police department felt about that. That, to me, is a big thing. And then the other part is, do we really need more pot shops in town? So those are the questions that I have.
All right.
We really don't have a comment.
Microphone, please.
I don't know that we really have a comment on that. We're not having any
overt adverse reactions or effects around the pot shops. So it's not going to affect us how we do business necessarily.
All right, thank you.
I mean, are we seeing a need for more? I mean, are the shops now so busy that they can't handle everything, that we need more?
Although that's in our consideration, that's really not a question that we can address, because if a business is asking for the ability to conduct business, that's not really a question we can.
It's a business.
Yeah, it's a business, and it's a business decision. If we set the parameters and the business looks at those parameters, it makes the business case, you know, whether they can open and successfully operate a business under those conditions. So I think rather than looking at the do we need, because I remember that same question about fast food places, we set the table, and then business owners decide if they can operate under those conditions, and then they make a business decision. But the question to council is whether we want to direct staff to come back with a process to reopen the conversation about the distance between pot or marijuana retailers in our development code. That's the question before us right now. What that is, that would be part of the recommendations or the options brought to us by staff. So that's the question. Councilor Herrera.
I think I'm in favor of reopening it. I think we should treat it like any other business and work with them. So I would be open to that.
Okay. So that would be, if council wants to direct staff, we will need I have this correct, Mr. Johnson, a motion and a second to direct staff to come back with options regarding distance between marijuana retailers. Would that be a correct statement?
I think the staff report says that if you want to move forward, and again, as Shane pointed out, it's not moving forward to make a decision. It's just, is there interest in scheduling a public hearing to take formal comment on it? You certainly can decide to do nothing after the public hearing. The motion in the staff report is to direct staff to set the matter regarding a possible amendment to the distance requirements for public hearing.
Okay. So is there, did you want to put the motion on the table, Council President Smith? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the Kaiser City Council direct staff to set the matter regarding possible amendment of the retail marijuana ordinance distance requirements for public hearing.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council direct staff to set the matter regarding possible amendment of the retail marijuana ordinance distance requirements for public hearings. Further discussion? Looking. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no.
No.
Noes, raise hands. Noes are Kohler, Reed, Clark, and Duran. Motion fails. All right, next up is item 8C, a community center rental fee waiver, Cascade Pacific Council Boy Scouts of America, the Ed Harris fundraiser. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to defer to the person who requested this particular waiver, and that is Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Councilor Kohler.
Can I take this? My name is Dan Kohler. I live in Keizer. So every year, the Ed Harris Memorial is an event that is put on to raise money for sponsorships and for help young people that wouldn't be able to get to scout camp otherwise. What we do at the memorabilia auction is we take things like these little patches, and what we do is we auction them off, we trade them, we do all these things, and this little booklet right here that you see contains all of the CSPs, or these are kind of patches that are in the ORIDA Council. So I have one of these notebooks, several notebooks for each council in Oregon. So I have all of those. So I spent a lot of time working with the memorabilia committee. Well, a couple of years ago, last year, we held it out at Staten, and it was too far away from I-5, so there weren't enough people that could come. Well, there were a lot of people that could come, but not as many did come as could come because it was further away from I-5. Having it here would allow easy access to people from Medford or south of there in Seattle, all to come down and participate in a fundraising event that would actually be of benefit to young men and women who are in Keizer, because they all apply for that. And so what I'm looking is for a waiver of the fees, certain fees, so that we could have that here and benefit these kids that live around here and other places in the Cascade Pacific Council.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions for Councilor Kohler? And just to remind people, the scouting troops we have in Kaiser are significant in number and also in their impact on the community through volunteerism. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, I'd be glad to. So 2 years ago, I received my 50-year pen for my being involved in scouting. I know, Roland, I am that old.
You started as a child.
So what happens is that the scouting gives kids an opportunity to learn how to fail successfully, learn how to learn consequences. There's a lot of service that's given. How many Eagle projects have we had here in the area? I know Mr. Johnson's son is an Eagle Scout that I got to help approve his project. And there's a lot of really great things that happen in scouting that benefit our community besides benefiting the young men and our future leaders. There's lots and lots of positive things that go on with scouting.
And then the funds raised for this would offer scholarship opportunities for young people in our community as well as others in the council area.
Yes, just an example, a couple of years ago, well, this is probably 10 years ago now, there was a scout troop that was all African-American young men that came from the north part of Portland. And we, as the Ed Harris Committee, we gave a scholarship to that whole troop to go to a scout camp that otherwise those kids never would have been able to go. So there are some great things that happen. Usually we raise anywhere between $5,000 and $8,000, $10,000 at this event for scholarships for these kids.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just wanted to clarify in terms of details. This is no longer the Boy Scouts of America, right? It's the Scouts of America?
Scouts BSA.
Okay. So would that need to be part of the resolution as well, just to make sure that we have the correct name?
It could, but the bigger part of it is Ed Harris Memorial is run by the Cascade Pacific Council Memorabilia Committee.
Okay.
And I'm a member of that committee.
Okay, thank you.
So it's the committee that's really looking for the venue and not the council or not Boy Scouts of America or Scouts BSA.
Thank you for clarifying that.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions for Councilor Kohler? All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Council President Smith?
Yeah. 106?
There was 1, 2, and 3, so just we'll throw one of them on there, and then we can debate if we want to change to another one. So, if we could do a option for, let's say, option 3, and take it from there.
Okay, I move the Kaiser City Council waive the community center fee for Boy Scouts of America Ed Harris auction using option 3, grant a waiver of rental fees $1,000, and the cleaning security deposit $11.50, but collect the staffing cost of $200.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council waive the community center fees for the Boy Scouts of America Ed Harris auction, waiving the rental fees of $1,000, the cleaning security deposit of $11.50, and collecting the staffing cost of $200. Discussion. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously.
No. Do I have to abstain from that?
You didn't, no, you do not need to abstain because there is no potential or actual conflict of interest according to the city attorney who just shook his head.
Cool, I'll vote yes then.
Okay. So noted for the record. The time is 9 o'clock. I think we can, I don't want to start another resolution unless this one's going to be pretty straightforward. We could do a 5-minute bio break and then reconvene to finish the agenda. So with that, we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to recess. Okay, that was too funny. Go ahead and prop it open if you would, please. Please prop it open, yes, because apparently it's locked. Kaiser City Council is back in session. We are going to resume with item 8D, which is a resolution authorizing Finance Director to submit 2021 Marion County ARPA funds application round 1. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Marion County has invited the city to apply for a grant for the purpose of constructing some ball fields at Kaiser Rapids Park. By authorizing the finance director to submit the application, we're not obligating the city to actually accept the funds or to sign in a contract. I mean, I'm sure there's an expectation on the county's part that if they award the funds that we would take them, but we're not obligated to do so. So with that, I'll turn it over to our finance director, who may have some additional thoughts on the matter.
Thank you, Wes. Madam Mayor, City Council, yes, this is a little bit probably on the preliminary side, so if you have a lot of questions, I'm probably not going to be able to answer them, but we want to make sure that we can get into the pipeline given the deadline of the application submittal, which is actually this Thursday. So Marion County has invited us specifically to apply to this round 1 of ARPA fund distribution grants, specifically to put in up to two turf fields at Kaiser Rapids Park. There would be football, soccer type fields. These fields are part of, or will be part of, the Parks Master Plan when it gets adopted later this month. Obviously at this point, like I said, there's not a lot of answers that I can give other than we'd like to move forward because turf fields can cost up to $1.5 million, $2 million a piece. So I would hate to miss out on this opportunity to take advantage of someone else's ARPA funds. So with that, if you have any questions, we do feel like this does come under some of the ARPA type of requirements. However, we still need to continue and do kind of a legal review to make sure that we're not getting ourselves into a bind with the federal government and have to get some of these funds back. There will be an expectation at some point that we enter into a subrecipient grant agreement with the county. That will really kind of bind our hands to say, okay, at that point, when we enter into that agreement, we're going to go ahead and move forward with this project. So that's not what we're doing tonight. However, as our typical practice is, when we do apply for a grant that may have some ongoing requirements to it, we try to get city council approval. Let's see. Some of the things that we'll have to consider as we move forward with this, it will be subject to our RFP type of, or our bidding process given the size of the project. So we don't have a lot of costing details just yet. It'll require a lot of engineering time as well to really put that bid process together. Some of the policy things that we'll eventually have to come to terms with is what are the ongoing maintenance type of requirements, and how are we going to handle the reservation policy process. So those are some things that we may be able to partner with outside groups, or we may have to bring that stuff in-house and provide a process for that. So with that, if there's any questions.
So I've got one question. Mr. Hare, did you have?
This isn't a question. I was just going to throw in two unsolicited opinions. One that I think is really important to emphasize is that this was an invitation from Marion County, and I've always considered it bad form to reject an offer of assistance from another level of government when they, on those rare occasions when they make them. You'll have that opportunity down the road to reject it if you want to, but I just think it would be a mistake, recognizing that there are a lot of questions that need to be answered, but you're going to have plenty of opportunities to make those decisions before you would actually choose to accept the money.
Thank you. Just the one question, and make it really, really clear here that there'll be in our final determination, ongoing maintenance requirements and budgeting and so forth. These are rather predictable for a facility of this type. This is not new, a new construction by a construction type, so we'll be able to budget for that. And the other is making sure there is not an expectation beyond managing this as any other facility in our park system. That would not obligate us to start a program of any kind, anything above and beyond maintenance and general reservations. Was there anything implied or stated in that invitation that would obligate us to run a program with those facilities?
Based upon what I've seen, no, Madam Mayor, I do not see any obligation.
Okay. Appreciate that. All right, any further questions? Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move the Kaiser City Council adopt resolution R 2021 authorizing the finance director to submit 2021 Marion County ARPA funds application round 1.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Kaiser City Council adopt resolution R 2021 authorizing finance director to submit 2021 Marion County ARPA funds application round 1. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. That takes us to the consent calendar. Council President Smith, would you please read the items on tonight's consent calendar?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Items on the consent calendar tonight are A, resolution authorizing the city manager to sign Marion County multi-jurisdictional natural hazards mitigation plan update intergovernmental agreement. Item B, approval of the November 8th, 2021 work session minutes. Item C, approval of November 15th, 2021 regular session minutes.
Thank you. Are there any polls? Councilor Herrera.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was absent on, was it the 15th?
Let's look.
I believe it was the 15th.
I think you and Kyle were both gone.
Yeah, I believe Kyle and I were both on that.
Yeah.
We went together though.
I need to pull P to B also because I was gone that.
Okay.
I was gone both days.
B and C.
Okay, we're pulling B and C. Okay, so
And
that
it
would
was the
be,
first meeting I missed in over three and something years.
okay. Okay. Council President Smith, let's start with A.
I move the Kaiser City Council approve consent calendar item A, resolution, or item A.
Second?
Consent calendar item 9A has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. 9B, and that would be Councilor Duran? Okay, good.
Me too, right?
No, 9B is November 8, 2021.
Oh, no, 15.
You were here
Sorry.
for the work session, that I recall. Okay. Council President Smith.
I move the Kaiser City Council approve consent calendar item B.
Second?
The consent calendar, item 9B, has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Abstentions?
Here.
Okay. So motion passes with 5 ayes and 1
No.
abstention by Councilor Duran. 9C, Council President Smith.
I move the Kaiser City Council approve consent calendar item C.
Second?
Consent calendar, item 9C has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Abstentions?
Abstention here.
Abstention, yeah. Yes.
The 9C is approved with 4 yes and 2 abstentions. That would be Councilors Herrera and Duran. All right, that concludes the consent calendar for this evening. This takes us then to other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. Anybody have new or old business this evening? City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you recall, at our meeting with our consultant for the city manager search, we had a pretty small pool of applicants, a total of 8. He's reviewed those 8 applications and believes there are probably 3 that deserve some further investigation, but he is in agreement that it would be wise to go ahead and extend the review period. The suggestion from the consultant is to extend the review to the middle of January, second week in January. And the reason for extending it that long, basically a little over a month and a week, is that the holiday season is a pretty difficult time to recruit. You don't normally get a lot of applications between now and Christmas, for example. So I just wanted to make sure the council is aware of that. If there is an objection to that, we can certainly change the timeline. But my best advice would be to go ahead and give it a little more time and see if you could deepen that pool a bit.
Any objection from City Council on amending the timeline on the city manager recruitment, extending the application review period out to mid-January? I see no objection.
Great.
Thank you for bringing that matter to our attention. Any other new or old business, any other business this evening? Staff updates? Mr. Hare?
I think that was my only one. Maybe I jumped the gun.
Nope, you were right on.
Or another business.
You're right on tap. Mr. Wood?
Just want to pass along that my family is killing it on the sewer reset period. We're down about 2 units as I've looked at my monthly average, so we're on track to be down to about 10 units, which is good for a family of 4. So folks, if you can save water right now, it'll save on your sewer bill for the rest of the year. Thank you.
All right, challenge accepted. Way to go. He's setting the bar. That's fantastic. Ms. Davis. Officer Bamford.
Police Department, we're in the middle of a hiring process. We plan to be testing again on the 14th and 15th, or the 14th of this month with interviews on the 15th and 16th. Crime for theft is up 16% over this past year, so please remember to lock your doors on your vehicles. Hide your gifts that you're out Christmas shopping for so they're not easily seen. And also pick up your packages in a timely manner from your doorsteps. And Lieutenant Copeland is now a movie star,
yes.
From Dr. Phil.
He did a fantastic job. I saw a lot of comments on Facebook and want to thank him for representing Kaiser in a very professional manner on that program.
Difficult subject.
So he did a great job. Thank you. Mr. Witham.
The only thing I just wanted to reiterate what Commissioner Saldivar spoke to earlier tonight. Our online open house is up and running for our House Bill 2001, which is the middle housing bill, or housing options. So I encourage anybody watching, counselors, everyone, go on and kind of walk through that open house. It kind of spells out what some of the work is that we're doing. And then there is a short survey at the end that we're asking folks to participate in to get some input on. So that's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Lawyer.
Nothing tonight. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Johnson.
Nothing tonight. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right. Thank you very much. Council reports. Councilor Duran, can I start with you?
Sure, I'll make it quick. I also was at the Planning Commission last week, and I did do that survey, and I put it up on my Facebook, so probably 2 or 3 people saw it.
You're a huge following.
But so it is something that's easy to do, and I hope people do go and do that. Want to remind people again about the tree lighting tomorrow night, parade Saturday. Saturday, there will be a food truck at my office, so if anybody wants to come and get food from the UFO truck, I don't know. They have a lot of different stuff, so I can't list what they have because it's a bunch of different stuff. So
it's out of this world.
Please come and visit my office on River Road and check out the food truck there.
All right, thank you very much, and thanks for being willing to host one of the food trucks. Council President Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have much tonight. I did want to say thank you to all of the people who've applied to be part of the Community Diversity Engagement Group. The letters are awesome. I am just so beyond impressed. it's very fulfilling to see this and to get the information. And honestly, I can see a lot of people's backgrounds on here, people that I've maybe seen emails from in the past and such. And to see a different level and understand some of the backgrounds is pretty cool. So the engagement on this is fantastic. So thank you so much for being willing. And you'll all be getting calls from me because I'm calling all of you. So thank you so much.
All right, fantastic. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So with the holiday season kicking off, we're collecting cans. Mayor and Councilor Duran and Councilor Kohler and I were collecting cans in the rain, which was lots of fun. And hopefully, before too long, I'll be able to actually go see the lights, because they're one of my favorite things. So just wanted to point out that there's lots and lots of opportunities for service in this season. In addition to events and activities, I was looking at the Keizer Times holiday event schedule that they published, and it is very comprehensive and very thorough. And Joey, is that also available on your website? Okay, so that is a great place to go. My daughter is committed to doing one Christmassy thing every day in December. So she's going to make good use of that resource to try and make that happen. And it's the events, but it's also the service, and all of those are kind of define the season in many important ways. And I think that's about all.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. Councilor Herrera.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Elizabeth, you pretty much said everything I was going to say about that. I was really excited to see the applicants. I thought that we had a really good pool of applicants for the diversity committee, and pretty excited about that. Last Friday, I had my POC caucus for the LOC, that's League of Oregon Cities, People of Color, and I joined them in from Vegas, where I was over there watching a horrible game. Anyway, I had the OYN, every Wednesday, the Oregon Latino Leadership Network get together from Latino elected officials from all over the state, and we discuss certain issues. CBEL Executive Committee tomorrow at noon, and it's kind of exciting because they're looking for another pilot grade school, and they told me that Kennedy was in the running for that, so I'm going to go and lobby for that. And that entails a lot of community involvement, Friday night fun nights, different events, and I'll fill you in on that later. But also, we'll see you guys tomorrow night for the tree lighting. And sorry I missed the Saturday. I was out of town, of course, watching a horrible game. And I tell you what, that's a beautiful, if you haven't been there, it's a beautiful venue, great food, we had great company, just lots of laughs, but horrible game. So, and I want to say bye to Mario. That's all I got. And by the way, somebody mentioned this before, but look out for other folks in the dark. I think Elizabeth mentioned it last week. I watch all the meetings, because I see people out there in the dark with bicycles and all that, with dark colored clothes. I mean, trust me, it's we have to be careful. And also on the last thing about Christmas coming up real soon, think about how you can help somebody that, I know that we always try to find somebody and just pay their bill, their water bill, or something that can help them. Somebody that really needs help. So that's something that we try to look for. Thank you very much. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a couple of things. On the day before Thanksgiving, we held Kaiser Community Dinner.
Yep.
And we had about 250 people show up that we fed, and it's really a labor of love putting all that together. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, love you, man.
I can't say enough about the people that get that put together. And Friday, Utah played a football game.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
I'm not sure the Ducks showed up.
I think we're all pretty sure about that one.
Saturday morning, I got to help decorate the community Christmas tree. That was really a neat experience. I'm so impressed with the volunteers that we have, Mr. and Mrs. Christmas, Marcia and Dave Walry, and all the stuff that they do that just makes Christmas an amazing place for Kaiser. And then with the mayor and Councilor Joanna Reed, we got to collect stuff and give away candy canes. That was a lot of fun.
You like giving away the dog treats.
And the dog treats were good too. Thursday, of course, the lighting tomorrow night, and then Thursday I have the Latino Business Alliance meeting with, I think, Councilor Smith. And then Tuesday is also the 80th anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And so if you know a veteran, and if you know any World War II veterans still around, be sure and help them understand that we appreciate them, and that make sure that your kids all know what the cost of freedom is. And lastly, all the stuff with Santa Central and things that are going on. We've got food wrapping, or Christmas wrapping, foods sorting, and then putting everything together. And Saturday, if you have extra time Saturday morning, come down to Lions Club at 9 o'clock and come help us deliver the 306 boxes to people. It's just so much fun. It's a great thing. It's a great place to live here in Kaiser and to be involved in all that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Youth Councilor Coleman.
All right. So, adding on to what you just were talking about was the gift wrapping, the food sorting. I will be there Wednesday and Thursday, and hopefully some of my leadership people and other people like that will come and join me and do that. I really enjoy doing stuff like that because it kind of brings like the Christmas spirit back and stuff like that. So yeah. Elf the Musical at McNary's opening night is on Thursday, December 9th at 7 p.m. and they will be having shows that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I believe the next week as well. I'm not sure about the next Thursday, but they have tickets for sale on their website. McNary is also doing a fundraiser called Adopt a Cell, kind of similar to what the Chamber and Lions Club is doing with Kaiser families, but specifically Celtic families at McNary. It's an annual fundraiser to buy presents and food for Celtic families in need, and the QR code to donate is located on the back counter where the meeting agenda is back there if you guys would like to donate to that. I'm very excited this Saturday we get to go out and purchase gifts for everyone with the money that we donate, so it's kind of like a shopping spree for everybody. A little bit in the future, McNary is also hosting a blood drive here at the Kaiser Civic Center on December 30th from 12 to 5 p.m. We need to save lives this holiday season, and it would be a great way to end the year strong. And then a little even more in the future, McNary Cheer is hosting a junior cheer clinic for grades kindergarten through 5th grade. It'll be held February 12th through 14th in the McNary Gymnasium. On the 14th, they will perform a halftime show during the basketball game. And more details in the link to sign up is on the McNary Cheer Instagram. And I believe that is all I have.
Was there a dance this weekend?
Oh yeah, the snowball on Saturday. It was so fun, so fun. Also meeting like everyone from different schools. Like it was awesome to be back again. So yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, we saw some of the snowball attendees come through the Christmas lights. That's a tradition for a lot of young people. And all dressed up and everything and making the lights part of their snowball event. So that's great. Just a couple things to add. First, I want to thank Council President Smith for running the 2 work sessions while I was out of town, so really appreciate that. I got a chance to listen in, and you did a great job, so thank you very much for doing that.
Sure.
Very much appreciated. Well done.
I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
Also want to remind people that the city councilor recruitment is still open. Tracy, what's the deadline for submitting applications to be for city council?
It's this Thursday, December 9th at 4 o'clock.
All right, so that's the deadline. Yes.
This Thursday, December 9th at 4 o'clock, and also remind the council, if you like to submit a question, it's by next Monday, December 13th.
All right, so yeah, absolutely submit questions to be asked of the candidates. They will all get the same questions. All right. On top of that, Small Business Saturday, I read a lot of great things. I've also heard that a lot of the events around town, the McNary Bazaar and other fundraisers have been extremely well attended this year. Kaiser just keeps showing up with a very generous attitude everywhere they go. Let's see. The Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance, the executive committee met on the 30th, and the board will be meeting on the 9th. Among other thing is moving forward with the Youth Homeless Development Program grant, and the contractor to be running that program, which is, again, a very significant grant for our region. We are one of 2 in the state to get that grant. Is about $3.6 million for the Alliance, and then the other recipient in the state was Lane County. So looking forward to a lot of great work specifically aimed at meeting needs of students and youth within our community, in our 2-county region, Marion Polk counties. We've got let's see, the Kaiser Heritage Foundation will meet next Tuesday night, the 14th. And again, great things continue to happen over at our Kaiser Heritage, the Cultural Center. We've got art. If you want to buy local, that's a great place to get wonderful artwork by local, extremely talented artists. Or buy season tickets for our fantastically talented Kaiser Homegrown Theater, and help get the word out for the library cards, or donate to the Kaiser Community Library and the Kaiser Heritage Museum. All of these organizations work together in the Cultural Center right next door to the City Hall. And that's about all I've got to add on top of everything that you all mentioned, and I'm not going to repeat it because everybody already heard it. Okay, agenda input. Next Monday, December 13th at 6 p.m., we will meet in a work session on right-of-way. On December 20th, we have the 6 o'clock special meeting? Okay, so 6 o'clock we'll meet in a special session specifically to interview the applicants for the city council position. And then we will meet at 7 p.m. in regular session. And then January 3rd, 2022 will be our first meeting in the new year, convening at 7 p.m. right here at the Civic Center. Anything else for the good of the order this evening? All right, seeing none, the time is 9:38 and we are adjourned.